Okay, Jagannath, Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verse 68. Therefore, Almighty armed hero, one who practices restraint in all activities while engaging the senses in the objects of the senses is firmly situated in wisdom. This series of verses has been talking about how to control the senses, how to control the mind, which is a very important thing. We have to control the body, the senses, and the mind in order to attain peace and have a clear vision. Okay, so we go on and we see that the real point is not to completely give up all the activities of the senses. It's not one who avoids all activities. Practices restraint in all activities. Restraint means controlling, to be aware of what we're doing. Okay, because we all have to engage the senses in the sense objects. Like Krishna says, guna guneshu vartante. The gunas must be engaged in the gunas. What are the gunas? All material objects, all material elements, including the senses and the sense objects, are made of gunas. Okay. 69. For such a wise person, what is night for all creatures becomes the opportunity for regulated awakening, and the time when the creatures remain awake is night for him. Okay, what is the meaning of this verse? As I say in the commentary, there are various levels of meaning. One of the easiest meanings is that when materialistic people who don't control their minds, who are always running around because they are totally immersed in material identification, attachments, desires, and all the selfish emotions. When all these people are sleeping, at least they are quiet. They don't make too much noise. So that's a very good time to be awake, because you can make choices with a clear mind, because the atmosphere is actually supporting clarity of mind. And on another level of meaning, things that are interesting for materialistic people, materially oriented, conditioned people, are not interesting for those who are actually focusing on the Atman. Any question on this verse?
Yes. No, this part, one level of meaning which you told is correct. If you maybe more deeper, further meanings, if you can discuss.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
there in the commentary.
I mean,
So, rising early, um, the changes of the tides of nature, Brahma Muhurta. On a deeper level interpretation, the wise sadhaka stays awake in the dark night of ignorance, because that is the time of strictly following the regulations and discipline, duties that keep us on track. So, we have to be careful. After the sun of realization has risen, there is less need for rules and regulations, because one is spontaneously attracted by what is transcendental and real. So the wise sadhaka can let go of the strict control of the mind and let the natural feelings of the soul take over. So this is the cessation of the agitation of the mind. That is the definition of yoga according to Patanjali. Sannyasis are not required to perform the usual ceremonies or to engage in social occupation or job and so on. Okay, then we have 70, and we are getting near to the end of the chapter. The ocean does not move from its position, no matter how much water enters to fill it. A person who similarly withstands the flow of desires entering his mind achieves a peace that is not achieved by one who wants to cultivate desires. This is pretty clear. It's showing the meaning of being awake and sleeping. There is this meditation practice is actually a very good visualization. We should visualize ourselves like a rock in the middle of the ocean that cannot be moved even by the storms, because there are very solid roots to the rock, so it's not going to move. The waves can come and crash and go, but the island is not moving. Okay.
But one question I have in that
Please.
verse.
Yeah.
So here it says that if we continue to satisfy desire, like desires will not end, right?
Yeah.
But earlier we also saw that maybe on that we should not by force stop
Oh,
the flow.
definitely.
Like,
This is why I put in the brackets to cultivate desires. Let's see the Sanskrit.
mhm.
Apuryamanam. Apuryamanam. Constantly filled. Achala, without moving. Pratishtan, steady. Samudram, apa pravishanti, yadvat. Tadvat kama, yam pravishanti sarve. Sa shantin apnoti na kama kami. Kama kami is not someone who is engaging in the proper work of maintenance of one's body and mind. Because we have to make a difference between desires and needs. This is a very important thing.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
are entitled to our share. Ishavasya midam sarvam. Yad kincha jagadajaga. Tena taktena bhunjita. Yagra kasha svidhanam. Tena taktena bhunjita. Everybody, literally everybody in the universe is entitled to a share. A share of what? Desires of sense gratification, of needs, so we accept that part. We can go on and engage our senses in getting that share that is allotted to us. But we don't think that sense gratification will give us real happiness. So we don't desire. Nakama kama. Kama is one of the 4 purusharthas. Like dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Which is, okay, it's normal for human beings to have desires and to satisfy the desires. But they are subject first to dharma, first of all, and then to artha, means valuable things. Valuable means things that we use, to support our health and good existence, our health both physical and mental. we should not go after desires if they're not according to Dharma and they're not actually valuable. For example, let's say you need a vehicle, okay, to move from one place to the other, because your job is to go, between distant places that cannot be covered by walking only. So let's say you need a car or a two-wheeler. You need it, you use it, it's useful, it's valuable. Why should you want to have 15 cars? Why do people want to have 15 cars? they can only use one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So why they want to have more? Because they become attached to desire itself, which is separated from artha and from dharma. Because they think that by desire and sense gratification they can become happy, but it's never going to happen. Because someone who has a two-wheeler, they will want a car. Someone wants a car, they will want a bigger car. When he has a bigger car, he wants two cars. When he has two cars, he wants 10. When he has 10, and there's never end. There is never end. Because that's not where we get happiness. This is why in Niyama and Niyama we have aparigraha. We have the freedom from the desire to hoard, to accumulate possessions. We are free from the attachment to possessions. Things are coming and going because this is what material objects do. So we are entitled to have, possess, and use those objects and those desires, those pleasures that are required and healthy to keep us in good health and able to do our work. But not desires in themselves. You understand? It's the same for personal relationships. Once you have a life companion, you should be satisfied with that. Why you need to go and have a lot of, adventures with lots of different people? It's the same basic need. If you address the actual need, you'll be satisfied. You don't have to run after things. The problem is that if you don't address the real need in a healthy way, then that need will become distorted and will grow excessively. This is also happening, for example, in our diet. If our diet is not healthy and it doesn't have the proper vitamins and minerals and whatever we need to be healthy, then our body will crave more and more food. Too much food for our health. So it's better to eat, the right amount of healthy food, because that will give us the proper satisfaction, the proper healthy satisfaction. But otherwise, if we go after the taste only, it's never going to be sufficient, because when we get used to one taste that we crave so much, we become tired of it and we want another taste. There's no end. So we have people who eat the most incredible things. For someone who is sane, is healthy, mentally healthy, there are some stuff that people eat that, it's incredible how people can eat that kind of stuff. It happens. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
So basically, difference between need and
yes,
desire. Like,
desire in the sense of whim, you know, um, mental imagination, projection that you can be happy only if you do this and that. Then you actually get what you were dreaming about, and guess what? They're not happy. you know. Otherwise, people, in the world would be much happier because lots of people, there is sufficient wealth on this planet for everyone. As you know, that famous saying, Earth can give sufficient for man's needs, but not for man's greed.
mhm.
So need and greed are two different things. When we speak of kama kami, is someone who is greedy, who wants to have more desires. You don't need to want it. A need will come by itself, even if you don't look for it. When you're actually hungry, your stomach will tell you. So you eat what is required, the quantity required, the quality required, and then you can go on and do your thing. If you eat to live instead of living to eat, you'll be much healthier. Someone who lives to eat is cultivating desires. I would like to eat that and that. Up to a point, that's not that bad, because it might be interesting. You never tasted one particular type of fruit or one particular type of recipe. Okay, you can try. Why not? But when it becomes an obsession, that you want to have more and more and more desires, you desire to have desires, then it's a totally different game. Okay. Anything else on this subject?
Yeah. No.
Okay, then we go for 71. By abandoning all desires, a person moves freely without attachments, and because he does not consider himself the owner or doer of anything, he attains peace. Abandoning vihaya, giving up, letting go, doesn't mean rejecting or denying. Abandoning means desire comes, you check if it is a good idea or not. And then if it's a good idea, you fulfill it, you satisfy it. If it's not a good idea, you let it go. But you have to let it go anyway. In both cases, whether you actually take action on your desire or not, you have to let it go, because if you keep clutching that desire, it's not going to do you any good. This is God will always send us what we need, but especially if we are on a good karmic balance. This is the secret of the Vedic society, why the Vedic society works used to work so well, because each member of the society was working for the benefit of all others. Like Krishna is saying, work for the benefit of all beings. Like, I think you heard that story. There was one guy who had the opportunity to visit heaven and hell. This is a not exactly a Hindu story. but it's interesting.
No,
So
I haven't. You can.
yeah, and so he gets the opportunity to visit hell and heaven. So he first goes to hell, and there is a big feast with all sorts of foods and everything. But they have very long spoons.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah. Got
you,
it.
I think
Mhm.
you heard about the story. So, or
Yeah,
at
yeah, I
least
got it.
you can imagine how it goes. So,
Hmm.
with this long spoon, they cannot actually feed themselves. So they have all this wonderful food and everything, and they're all starving to death. And it's a torture in a sense, because all this food and you cannot put it in your mouth. It's maddening. People become crazy out of frustration and anger and pain and everything. So then he moves on. He goes to heaven, and it's exactly the same situation. It's a big feast, lots of wonderful food, and the same long spoons. But what they're doing, they're feeding each other across the table. So, they can enjoy and be happy and healthy and have everything because they are not selfish. They're feeding each other. So, when we work for the benefit of all beings or the universal community, we are actually getting our own maintenance automatically. And if we don't get it, there must be some reason why. So we have to go and find out why that is happening. But otherwise, if we, in a healthy society, no one is poor, no one is starving, because everybody works for the collective benefit. So nobody gets a salary. Nobody accumulates too much because they only take what is really necessary for their health and their work. So, the Shudra is getting everything he needs. He doesn't get a salary, but he gets everything he needs. Good food, good place to stay. He's staying in the same house as the employer, and he's treated like a family member, and doesn't have to work himself to death. When he's not feeling well, he can take rest. And nobody is kicking him out. Nobody is denying him food or medicines or whatever. He's getting a lot of gifts. He's getting a lot of vacations because during all the festivals, there is no particular professional duty to do, so everybody is celebrating, so there is no regular work. So people, yeah, they're working for the festival, but that is the same for everybody else. So, Shudra doesn't get a salary. Vaishya don't get a salary. Who's paying the Vaishyas? You know, and they cannot accumulate too much wealth. Because that is something that is condemned even from the Rig Veda. The story of Indra and Vritra, it's the original story is the dragon that is keeping the water from coming to the earth as rain. And there is a hint to Indra in the Rig Veda, saying that Indra should defeat the hoarders, those who accumulate wealth without using it for the benefit of the entire society. So these are considered asuras. They have to be punished by the kshatriya. So there is no way a Vaishya can become, someone like, I don't know, Elon Musk or Zuckerberg or whatever, or Rothschilds or whoever. This is not a system, because the Vaishya is always living modestly, in the sense that he has everything he needs, but he's not um, ostentatious. It's not showing, oh, I'm so rich, I can throw money away. Never happened. Kshatriyas are not getting a salary. Who's getting it? They're not getting salaries. The Kshatriya has no personal property, because he must be ready to sacrifice all properties and even his own body for the protection of the virtues. What to speak of Brahmanas? Brahmanas need to give the highest example of renunciation to selfishness. So a Brahmana who is wealthy is not qualified as a Brahmana. Brahmana has to be the perfect example of modesty in being in wealth. Say he's poor in the sense that he gets donations and he distributes donations. He doesn't keep anything for himself. So this is, in this type of society, you can abandon desires because everything you need will come naturally to you. Problem is the present society where even the Shudras and the Brahmanas are taxed like anything. It's difficult to feel secure and relaxed. Anyway, so is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. Any question here? No.
No.
Okay. So next one is the last verse of the chapter, I believe. Yes. 72. The son of Prita. This is a spiritual level. A person who has attained this level never becomes confused, and by remaining in that position, he attains spiritual liberation at the end of his time. Means that liberation is already liberated. But at the end of this body, when he dies, he doesn't have to come back and get another body. As long as we have a body, material body, we should use it properly. It's not that when we become liberated, we whimsically give up the body, because it's still, as long as it works, it's a valuable asset that we can use to serve, to work for all the beings and the manifestation of God. But when the body is not working anymore, we don't need to get another one. Okay, so this was the second chapter, which is a very interesting chapter because it starts to give the ABC of the science of yoga, which is number one, we are not the body. Number two, we have to control the mind. Number three, we have to become free from material identifications and attachments that are pertaining to the I'm not the body and I'm not the mind. So it's this is the in a nutshell the point of yoga. Okay, anything else, or we start chapter 3, or we leave it for the next time?
Yeah, I think we only have 8 minutes, so better we start next time, chapter
Let's
3.
start next time. Okay, now we know that is chapter 3. You want to Elaborate on these topics a little more? No.
No, I think we are
I
good.
think we're done.
Already. Mhm.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you very much. So we close here. Next time, chapter 3.